Do you think he'll ever come back?
You mean the cat? Coffee making is about attaining and achieving the same taste in each and every cup. A skill that takes time to hone, but no matter how long you have been practicing and doing it, it can never be precise.
Alright, so hello everyone and welcome back on Convo on the Shore, the unofficial Haruki Murakami video podcast. Today I have the very great pleasure to talk to James Lee from Malaysia. Hello James.
Hi Sally.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you.
Very good. So James, I have recommended your film a while ago on my channel. You have shot a Haruki Murakami inspired short film which is called Café Lumière. And from my side, I really love the film. Thank you for making it.
Thank you.
I would like to talk to you about the film and maybe your inspiration for it, and then we can maybe talk about other films as well.
All right.
But first, maybe you can tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got into movie making, and what your films are all about.
That's going to be long. I'll try to compress it. Actually, I started in theater first, stage, before I move on to TV and film, right? The moving images. So I'm actually trained as a graphic designer. Yeah, so I have no formal training in filmmaking. So it's a kind of hands-on thing. And I started on making my short films. So this is back in mid 90s. So we're talking like all the equipments are very expensive, especially the cameras. We can't edit at home, and we don't have internet, so we don't have much place to even. Was the love of trying to tell a story through the medium that got me into filmmaking. Because before that, I used to like to read comic book, especially Japanese manga. So and that's how I kind of like got into graphic design. Originally, I wanted to be a comic artist, but then when I kind of like delved into storyboard, it kind of changed my mind, and I thought maybe I could transfer this, into movie. Yeah.
I see. And then you have started to release your own movies on YouTube. So you got a quite huge channel, and
correct. I start releasing my film later on YouTube when YouTube was around. That's why some of the films are actually before YouTube. If you look at the year, right, they are made before that, so they are kind of old. Even you look at the visual quality, it looks like it's shot on a different type of camera. The newer ones were shot on HD and 4K. Yeah, so now I think it's great because I can still do my make short films, my own films, and share it online. So it's a very different world now compared to last time. I would make a film, and I think less than 100 people would have saw it. Yeah.
So do you have any special inspiration? Do you have any favorite director? I guess a movie director has several favorite directors, but I guess you have some more.
I don't know how much time your podcast have, but yeah, it would be. Okay, I think the first one coming in mind would be Wong Kar-Wai.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so you could see a lot of my film kind of like reference on this style and theme.
Yes.
And then the Taiwanese filmmaker Edward Yang, Chai Ming Liang, Ho Xiao San. In Japan, it would be like Katashi Tikano, I think, the earlier one. I look at them; they're all kind of like popular in the early 2000s, like very popular, right? Yeah, and I think that's the era when I kind of come in contact with them and like their films. So if you ask me now these days, who are the filmmakers that I like after 2015? There's a bit less because I watch less films and there's too many films and film directors, so I can't really keep in touch with a lot of them. Yeah.
I see. Okay. So the interesting thing I saw when I watched your Murakami short film, you have already released it in 2015. And what I really like about it is, first of all, the film itself, but if we're talking about techniques, that you have released in 4K back in 2015, which was not really common by that time. So
yeah.
And you have also quoted Wong Kar-Wai as your one of your inspirations. And I think when you're watching Café Lumière, there's also a certain vibe. Of course, there's a Murakami vibe, but I also felt like a segment of Wong Kar-Wai.
Yes, in fact, I think it's visually it's more closer to Wong Kar-Wai because I think Murakami is more like influence more like it's a novel. So a lot of time it's just a text and the idea that inspired me.
Yeah.
But I think technique-wise, yeah, I think it's more obvious. It's come from like Wong Kar-Wai because you can see the colors and how I shot it and the slow motion, right? It's like, hey, I've seen this somewhere before. So I guess, that's how I kind of like learned to make films. And in a way, I kind of I'm always very honest. Most of my films is actually homage to the films that I like. So they're not really original, as in original. So I'm always like making films based on something I like, something I've watched, something I've read, and then it could be based on so I couldn't even dare to say like, yeah, this short film is my original idea. You know, I don't think I have any short films I could say it's original. Most of it's kind of like have a lot of influence by other filmmakers in terms of like the technique, the editing, the style. You know?
Yeah, but in the end, every story is inspired by something else. So
correct.
So maybe we can talk a little bit about your Murakami film.
All right.
I've seen in the credits that you have written it yourself as well. So are you a big fan of Murakami?
Yes. In fact, very, very big. Of course, I also have like a couple of favorite writers, but his is much more one of my top because I kind of related to his. It's easier for me to relate to his novels. You know, I think it's kind of quite subjective. I think it's got to do with a personal taste of the reader. And I think I was introduced to Murakami through another friend. So before that, I was reading more Western novels from US and Europe, right? Until I bumped into Murakami, and the first one that I read was the Wind-Up Bird Chronicle, which I thought it was amazing, right? It was like, wow, okay. And it's a translation, you see, because he wrote in Japanese, so it was very well translated. I didn't know, like, wow, okay. I have no contact with Japanese writer prior to that.
Okay.
So after that, I read a few more Japanese writers, which happened, most of their novels are adapted into films. So I saw the films too by different writers. So that's how I kind of come in contact with Japanese writers at that time, you know. But I have watched a lot of Japanese films and anime and manga, but not the writers. So I thought like, but the novel itself was very, what kind of like, how it hit me was the Wind-Up Bird Chronicle was very surreal. Right, it's the whole world. It's very magical. I think that's how people feel. But at the same time, it's very real. The characters, they are so real. Like you could see them in flesh and blood. So, and I thought like, wow, this is a very different style I've not read before. So when I read novels from other countries, especially the West, right, no matter how much like it, there's always like they're Americans, right?
Yeah.
Or they are French.
Yeah.
That's written very good. I enjoy it, but it's kind of like Murakami, maybe because it's in Asia, so a lot of those are. It's like watching Wong Kar-Wai film for me, right? It's more easier to get what he's trying to say compared to if I'm watching a French film or a German film, right? Which no doubt they're very good, but their context and their culture sometimes it take me maybe a longer while to understand. Oh, all right.
There's a distance to you,
correct.
to the audience. Yeah.
Yes, well, I think Murakami, because it's in the East, so a lot of his concept kind of like hit me more. I don't know whether it's right or wrong, but it hit me more kind of like clearer compared to other novels from other countries. Yeah.
Maybe also because of the writing style, because he has so many inner monologues and shares the thoughts of the character. So and also he's dancing around those daily routines always. He describes what he cooks and what he eats and what type of music he listens to. I felt the same. Even if I'm from Germany, I don't read that many German books. I read them in the past because I had to, but the writing style of Murakami is very close to the audience, I think, because he
to life.
Yes.
All right, okay.
Because of the routine he describes every day. I woke up, I ate this, I called this guy, I listened to this music. So maybe because of this as well.
Okay.
What I really liked about your film is that it opens up with the inner monologue of the character Jay, who works in the cafe, and who also just talks about coffee.
Yes.
Did you relate to the character as well, or did you just say, I would like to pay justice to Murakami? It has to be something similar.
Actually, this voice-over, right? I mean, in a movie, whenever you start with a voice-over of the character, whether it's a protagonist or who, in fact, it's you rarely see them these days. So somehow, if you watch Wong Kar-Wai film, he uses them a lot.
Yep.
终于在一家便利商店，让我找到第30罐的凤梨罐头。就在5月1号的早晨，我开始明白一件事情。
And then somehow, I suspect Wong Kar-Wai read Murakami too.
I think too. Yes.
Yeah, because some of his films, especially at Chongqing Express or Fallen Angels, there's those scenes that I like. Hey, I've watched Wong Kar-Wai film first, then I come into contact with Murakami. Then when I watch back Wong Kar-Wai film, because I do watch them back because I love them so much, I watch them, rewatch them again once every year. And then I noticed that a lot of his films have elements of Murakami in it, which I'm not sure whether he have read it or not. But somehow I suspect he might have read it because Murakami is quite big as well in the Chinese reader side because it's translated into Chinese. In fact, my friend read the Chinese version and then recommended me the English version. So then I kind of found, hey, maybe Wong Kar-Wai is how he present his film is influenced by Murakami. You know, so now if I'm using a VO, yes, technically it looks like it's from Wong Kar-Wai, but you have just said like it could be also from Murakami West, those internal monologue.
Yeah.
So somehow I would say like it could be from both of them.
Okay. A really good combination, yeah.
Yeah, it's a very good combination, right? So I think sometimes I see a Korean film, I see that, and it kind of similar to some stuff that I read from some Western novels, right? So I guess everybody's read a lot and they kind of borrow and steal ideas from here and there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about the story. So the film opens up in the cafe and we have Jay who is talking about coffee. And he gets a visitor, which is Eva, who first visits him with her boyfriend on a regular basis. But one day she appears there alone and asks him to work there. And also she has a missing cat, just like in the Wind-Up Bird Chronicle. Do you have any special relation to cats, or was it to pay a little tribute to Wind-Up Bird Chronicle?
No, I personally I don't like cats. I don't have cats, but I actually I can't, somehow I don't know why, but I kind of like that whole little thing in the Wind-Up Bird Chronicle. The girl who asked the hero to look for the cat.
Yeah,
and that little adventure always stuck with me. I don't know why. In fact, I've used this in a lot of my other movies, but not necessarily a cat. You know, sometimes it could be other things. Like The Missing Wife, I use it in one of my feature film, right? The wife who gone missing and the husband doesn't know where she went, right? And that I could say like is mainly influenced by either the Wind-Up Bird Chronicle or one of his novels, because his novel always somehow involves somebody that's missing.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I think that part, I must say, it always influenced me. I thought it's kind of like a very a plot device that I love a lot. Yeah, so in Café Lumière, yes, it was designed to have them going out on this little adventure for the short film as a way to kind of like build their relationship, which I think in the Wind-Up Bird Chronicle, that's how they built the relationship through this missing cat. So yeah, that was directly influenced by the novel itself. But in a way, I kind of like actually in some of my commercial films, even in TV series that I do, sometimes I do sneak in a bit of Murakami's ideas into it.
Very cool.
And sometimes it will be so rampant, like I would even put a book there, the novel, like a homage.
Yeah.
So people who have seen it, hey, why is the character holding Kafka on the shore?
Yeah.
Because I'm using the story is actually some part of it is inspired by the novel. So sometimes I had my characters reading novels, like in the library or in the school, right?
Yeah.
They'll be holding a Murakami. It could be in an English version or a Chinese version. And I thought that's fun because it's kind of a homage, and also how I want to kind of like if anybody have read his book and saw that book in the film, then they should know that somehow the film is influenced by the world of Murakami.
Yeah. Yeah, I recognize it directly because, the missing cat, intimate relationships, inner monologue, but very well done. Once again,
Right.
I really like your film. And what I also like is the way the dialogues are written.
Okay.
So he centers around one topic, which is coffee. I like the way the dialogue just shifts from talking about coffee to their relationship to other people. Because when she lost her boyfriend, she seems to need something to fill a gap, and she orders the same coffee that he always drinks and wants to work there. And at the same time, Jay is a bit hesitant to let her work at the cafe, but then he accepts her to work there.
Yeah.
Was it a development that you planned for those both characters, or was it just something you could witness in your own life, that if something goes missing, you need to fill the gap again? And
I think, in real life, I think it happens to a lot of people. It could be a relationship, or you lose somebody close, or then you try to find something else to replace it. Like if you lost a pet, or lost a job, I think that is quite real life. But in terms of like the script, it was written to be like that because in a way, I'm sharing more things where I kind of like got the idea. If you watch it, Wong Kar-Wai, I think it's Fallen Angels, where the girl with the blonde hair, Lynch, with the cop who they always met in the bar.
Yes.
Yeah, so it was somehow, I thought, it could be that setup. They're in always the cafe, they always meet, and then they build a relationship together. So in a way, I think that part was technically, it was still inspired by Wong Kar-Wai in terms of what I've seen, right? Because Wong Kar-Wai used to have a lot of meetings in the bar, in the cafeteria, sometimes where we meet the people doesn't always have to be in a big space.
Yeah.
It could be in our daily life. We bump into them, like a cafe, like a coffee house, like a Starbucks, or like a bookstore, those small one. I think now, I'm diverting a bit. I think Wong Kar-Wai had a very good handling of this type of moment where the characters bump into each other and they meet. They're always in all these very small and daily life places.
And you have also shown a picture of Nighthawks when she asks why he likes to work the night shifts.
Yeah. My favorite. Yeah. So, that tend to be a progression as you see. Yeah, it is all kind of like I kind of like all this very how do you say lonely, isolated stuff.
Yeah.
No. Have you watched the film of Chai Ming-liang?
No, unfortunately not.
All right. He's a Taiwanese filmmaker.
Okay.
He is also one of my major influence. He's very good in shooting lonely people in the city. And I think I love stories like that. That's why I think what attracted to me Murakami, a lot of his characters are very lonely. They are disconnected. They couldn't relate to their family, to their colleagues. They are always alone in Tokyo, right? And then they go on to this little surreal adventure on their own. So I always that's why I think that's why I think most people like it, because it's just bring you to a magical world.
Yeah, definitely. Do you plan on doing more inspired stuff by Murakami, or?
Yes, in fact, I was trying to write something. One of the short stories from the man without, what is it? The world without. He had Men Without Women. So it's inside there's one of the short story that I'm trying to write something of it, but it's been going on for quite a while. They got two stories that I really like. I thought it could be this time around. I was not trying to use the idea. I was trying to adapt it into So there was one short story about this man who got this phone call in the midnight. Somebody called him and told her his ex-lover died, right? And then there's another one, I forgot, but it's very weird. This woman wakes up in a room, and then she goes down to the living room and had breakfast.
Yeah.
So these two, I thought like, wow, I could envision. So this is the two things I'm working on, but it's been quite a while because I didn't have time to really sit down and look at it.
I'm really interested to see those.
Yeah, I hope I have time to make those, because I might also kind of like would adapt it into animation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, instead of a live feature.
Yeah. So the same they did for Blind Willow Sleeping Woman, which is a quite new movie. It came out
Yes, I saw
this
that.
year. You watched it already?
No, it's not here yet in Malaysia.
Yeah, same here. I couldn't watch it as well. So it has been released in the UK, US, France, but not yet in Germany. And
Okay.
yeah, but I hope I can watch it soon. But if we are already talking about other adaptations, one of the most famous is Burning from 2018. Have you watched it?
Yes, I have watched that. I have not watched the rest, including Norwegian Wood by this Vietnamese director. I haven't watched the rest.
Okay.
But that's because sometimes we can't get certain films in Malaysia.
Yeah.
And sometimes, other than if you try to find it illegally, which is quite hard, because even illegally, usually this sort of film is very hard to find. You usually find Marvel films, right?
Okay.
yeah. So even those ones is considered niche, very hard to find. So I haven't watched that, but people who watched it didn't thought it was a good adaptation, Norwegian Wood, right? So I kind of like didn't look at it. So Burning, it was shown in Malaysia. So I watched it in the cinema, so in the big screen.
How did you like it?
Oh, I love it very much. Yeah. I was captivated, and so it happens to be Lee Chang Dong, one of my favorite directors.
Yeah.
And when they want to adapt, I was like, wow, it better be good.
Yeah.
And it's really good. I think he's one of the best Korean directors. The film is really good. But I've not read the short story. That's the thing with Burning. Yeah.
So the short story is really, really short. So they made a 3-hour movie out of it, but
All right.
it was a good decision to do so because they gave a really good structure to the characters.
Okay.
And maybe you have also noticed that these characters are also talking a lot in metaphors like Murakami does. Yeah. So it does not happen in the short story, but in the film, which I think is really cool. And of course, I think you also take a closer look to the aesthetic of the film, how it looks, how the quality is. And I personally think that, all these stills they did in the film are just amazing. So also the facial expressions, landscapes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Sorry, I interrupted.
Just back to Burning, right? I mean, if they didn't say it was an adaptation of Murakami film, right? It still holds on its own because I think the director himself is very good in telling stories. So, in fact, I couldn't see a lot of. That's why I didn't read the story. But in a way, it doesn't seem like he's trying to show the movie as if it's a Murakami movie. Yeah. So I think what he did quite well was that he interpreted it on his own. Because I love his films from the past. It's still very him, but he just kind of borrowed this text, right? This idea and kind of elaborate him. I felt if you talk about Murakami, his characters is kind of much more darker in a Korean sense. Yeah. Maybe because they are being performed by real life actors. Yeah. And I always think the challenge of reading novels is that we have our own interpretation of the character.
Yes.
So I always thought Murakami's characters are a bit quirky. Yeah. And a bit likable. Whereas in The Burning, they are very, very unlikable. If you meet these people in real life, right? Yes. But you're interested to watch them. 3 of them, they are all just like very, very caught in their own world. Everybody have their own problem, but it's presented in a very, I felt like very realistic and very dark way. So I thought like, wow, it's not the type of character I thought I would see in a Murakami novel, right? So I thought he kind of like interpreted very well. I mean, he told the story very well, and somehow that's why I was quite impressed by the film. Yeah.
So also the way they are not 100% sympathetic, but also not 100% dark. It was a really good mix, especially the one played by Steven Yeun, who he was like, I don't know, a little bit of asshole, but also a very likable asshole.
To a certain degree, it's mainly focused on the 3 actors. It's a very long film, but I didn't felt a bit draggy or bored at all. I was like totally wow, and the visuals very nice.
Do you think that this film is a typical Korean film, or
Yes,
it is?
it's
Right?
a typical Lee Chang Dong film.
Yeah.
His film is always like that, but the theme is very different this time round.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you say there's a difference more in the filmmaking with Lee Chang Dong, or more in the storytelling? What makes him different from the other directors? What would you think?
Other directors.
Yeah, if we compare, for example, with let's say I missed the name right now, but the director of Parasite.
Oh, Bong Joon-ho.
Bo Joon-ho, sorry. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, who is more talking about society problems.
Yeah, correct.
Would you say there's a difference between them in
Very
storytelling?
big. Bong Joon-ho, I think he still have humor and dark comedy in his films.
Yeah.
Sometimes you laugh at the characters.
Yes.
Yes. Whereas I think Lee Chang Dong, if I remember, I have never laughed in any of his films. They are very serious. They are very dark, and they bring you to this journey. When you finish, it's like I'm exhausted. I'm like, wow. So I don't need all these 3D and Marvel movies to exhausted me. But his film is always very good. All his films, I love most of. Actually, I like all his films. Whereas Bong Joon-ho, he's kind of like very playful. Sometimes there's still a bit of humor in it.
Yeah.
Even if it's a monster film, right? There's all this very quirky stuff in it. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And if you would need to choose a director who makes an adaptation out of Wind Up Bird Chronicle, who would you recommend?
Whoa. I wouldn't recommend, but I would love to see Park Chan-wook do it.
Really?
Yeah. He is another one of my favorite directors.
Yeah.
I think I've seen Burning, right? Bong Joon-ho will be interesting, but if you ask me, I would think Park Chan-wook should do something with Murakami's novel, because that guy is crazy, man.
Yeah, he is.
Yes. The film is,
Yeah, the Revenge trilogy, for example, Old Boy, Lady Vengeance.
Yeah, correct. But even his latest films, they're all very good. The Handmaid's Tale, Handmaiden, right? The Handmaiden, the one with Nicole Kidman, they're all really good.
Definitely. And also one director, but he's a Western director who has been compared to Murakami's surreal style, is always David Lynch. What do you think about that?
Oh, yeah. He's one of my favorite directors. So my earlier film was very David Lynch, very stylized. A lot of people dancing. Yes, in fact, I think you're right. It's kind of like remind me of visually David Lynch. Except David Lynch is kind of like more how to say I would say it's highly stylized until it's kind of like it's not even surreal anymore. Yeah. But I would say he's quite close to a Murakami novel. If a director would attempt to direct a Murakami film, I think David Lynch would be a good choice. Yeah.
I think too. Do you think, of course you can't talk for every single story of Murakami, but in general, maybe do you think that Murakami's stories are hard to adapt into a movie?
No, I don't think so. Because that's from me. Mm-hmm. As I read his novel, a lot of them they inspire me visually. Mm-hmm. I think most novels, the thing why people read novels, they love novels, because it involves our own imagination.
Yes.
And I think what Murakami had is like he managed to open up some of our imagination that we never thought. Oh, all right, he's writing this, but how does this look?
Yeah.
Then it works on that. Well, some of the writers that I used to like, they are kind of like actually I rarely read surreal writers. Usually I read those kind of like Raymond Carver, Milan Kundera. Yeah. So they're kind of very realistic. Yeah. So when you read the book, you can follow, even though you're not been American. I have not been American, mm-hmm. but from movies and things I've seen, when I read, I could form that picture.
Yeah.
And I think because I've read so much of all this, I would say close to life novels set in the real world. When I read Murakami, it kind of like watching a David Lynch film. Yeah. Except without the visual, you have to imagine it yourself. So I think for me, it's not hard. It's just that it's challenging. How do you portray it on film, on visual, and share it to the audience, especially people who have read his novel?
Yeah, so he's a very visual storyteller, right? So
yes, correct. Very visual.
Yeah. You haven't watched Drive My Car yet, right?
Not yet.
Do you have any special expectations for that film? Because from what you could read online or what you could see from the trailers.
First of all, I know it's a bit biased. I like Japanese film too, and I think it's great that there's a Japanese filmmaker doing his work.
Yeah.
And somehow I have high expectation, and somehow I think it should be good. Yeah, I felt it could be a good film. In fact, some of my films watch it, and they say it's very. So I trust them.
I'd love to hear your opinion once you have watched it. So please definitely let me know.
But the thing is, like, the film, I think it came here for a very short while, and when I was here, I was busy shooting, so I didn't manage to catch it.
I see.
The cinemas. Yeah. So now I'm waiting. Hopefully, it'll come into one of these streaming platform, Netflix or something. I'll try to catch it there.
The funny thing is, it's just like Burning. It is a short story, and again, they made a 3-hour movie out of it.
Yeah. So I think Norwegian Wood is the only long novel that was made into a film.
Yeah, but it was really hard to watch. I think the film has a lot of difficulties. I only watched it once, and I'm not sure if I ever watch it again. Not for entertainment, but maybe if I just want to do a little analysis or something, maybe then I will watch it again. But it has a very difficult tone, while the book itself has some slightly funny and optimistic passages, but the film is very, very heavy. So yeah,
I've seen the trailer, but it was beautifully shot.
Yes. So the aesthetic is very good, but the storytelling itself is very heavy, I think.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. All right. I think we're good for today.
All right.
Thank you very much for taking the time. And
all right.
Please let us know if you shoot another Murakami project. We definitely want to watch it.
Okay, I'll definitely send a link on your email if I've done another one.
Yes, please. And for those who haven't watched Café Lumière yet, I will link the film at the end of this video. Please watch it. Let us know in the comments what you think, and also please leave a subscribe at Jam's channel. Many interesting projects. Thank you again. It was really good talking to you.
Yeah, thanks.